So I'm gonna just do my best, I guess. Draw whatever I want, I guess. Maybe that can be the how to get through the crusties. I'm feeling very art crusty right now. Usually that feeling is like the feeling that I'm feeling right now is the draw, I put pencil to paper, stylus to tablet, I guess. Everything kind of just feels kind of wrong or like crusty, very feeling very flowy, right? There's this like zone you can get into where not it's not specifically about drawing good, just about the process feeling good. But as far as forcing an art out of you, I mean, I got methods for that. uh I've shown this before and I still think it's quite effective, which is to use the either use the blur tool where you go like, you know, vaguely blot out the shapes until they kind of feel correct, very non-committally, just kind of go like, oh, do this up, there's kind of put stuff in the right spot in a way where you can come back with, I mean, I'm just going to shrink my brush, still using the same airbrush. Let's use a little, and then you can come in again once you've got enough. Once you've got enough there, you can kind of build on top of that. But I've done a tutorial about that before, but that's one method. And I think that comes down to people having different modes. They'll be sometimes in a hyper creative mode and sometimes in a correction mode or fix it mode. They'll be in their editorial, like writers have this as well. There's, writers are in their like type new stuff mode, and then they're on their edit their manuscript mode. And it's not always something they have control over, although it's best if you do, because then you can be more functional, have better control over your time output. But if you're at the mercy of if you're at the mercy of your mood, like I often am, sometimes it helps to just find ways to hack around your flaws so that you can get to the result in a roundabout way. And sometimes that involves enacting weird methods like that, like using blur tools, using imprecise tools. This is another one I used to sketch with, where you can like build a whole character in a very blotted way, very non-committal way. Come back and blur it. What? Oh, was I half selecting? Since when does blur everything? And then anyway, you do this, and then you work on top of it. For some of us, it's just there's modes where we're like, we don't know what to draw or how to draw it, but we do know when something feels wrong. So often that just requires you to get enough on the page, and it does disassociate it. And you have to disassociate yourself from the quality, right? Because if you try to put stuff on the page but you're still being yeah, high quality expectations, you're going to just keep hitting the wall. But if you can get stuff on the page while protecting yourself from thinking that you're doing a bad job by limiting your tools in a way that prevents you from overly thinking what you're doing, enough that you can get to a point where you can draw on it. I know this guy, guys, I know this is boring. It's fine. I'm just trying to work through some ideas I'm having out right now. So that you're here, it means but yeah, so there's going to be days where you're going to have a hard time performing, and for those days what you're going to want is to develop some tools that allow you to push past that. And usually what those tools are going to be are things like imprecise tools like a blurry brush or abstract brush. I'll show you the abstract one. I just had it. Here's an abstract brush, where it allows you to kind of build ideas, but knowing full well there's no way you could precisely, you can't really precisely draw anything with this, but you can build enough that you can work on top of it, right? And draw then there's other abstract tools I like using. There's the lasso tool. I see this quite often in like concept art guides. It's like just the lasso shadow groups. Seen this pretty consistently across few tutorials and guides on how to like kind of get somewhere fast without overthinking it, enough that you can work on top of it. Remember, this is less about perfectly executing your ideas. This is more about salvaging a kind of shitty start to your day. They can't all they can't all just start perfect. So there's that method. Another method I like using quite a lot is just you basically try to hit all the targets. It's like, okay, I have a character, I got a headdress, so you draw the headdress, I have a long neck. So you're just trying to like hit all the major conceptual components without worrying about actually the quality of the outline art. Put in the things that feel right at the time. And this process of like, instead of thinking about good illustration execution, it's more about just painting in all the details you can think of that you want to show up. So instead of going from like nicely well drawn part to nicely drawn well part, it's more about thinking about all the specific details and elements you think that are important, should be represented. So it's more like feature hopping. And then you do that, and then you outline that, and then you blur it enough that you can work on top of it, so that you have enough visual information for your mind to cling to start working on top of that and maybe do something a little more effective and within style or whatever. I find this one to be probably my most effective method, uh, especially if you're feeling really crusty, that you're really just really disassociating yourself from the quality expectations you might have, uh, forcing yourself to use a tool that is antithetical to quality. Um, just no way of getting a good line out of it. It can only fill the canvas with information of no value beyond just existing on the page. And that kind of ends up being a disassociating enough from your expectation of performing as an artist at a quality standard that allows you to get, stuff on the page. There's quite a few discussions about this. I think people talk about blotty, very blobby markers, which is a method I used to use as well. But I find with the markers, that's just basically the airbrush mode. With the lasso thing, I find why the lasso helps more is because the lasso lets you really, really, really drill down on features, like things you want there to be in the drawing without, so that your hand kind of just like gets used to the idea of where it should be going, how much it's time it should be spending on different ideas. Kind of, it's almost like a rehearsal to the actual drawing, which is something I really believe in now lately. I really believe in drawing rehearsal as a concept, where you prepare for a drawing by drawing. You prepare for a final image by drawing it a few times before as small thumbnails, or finding references that are close, or having spent, the previous day thinking about it, and then rehearsing for the final actual piece, and then committing to it as a final thing, right? So I think we're going to keep it to that. I think that's what our advice is going to be today. It's going to be how to break through feeling pretty crusty by employing the things I just mentioned, which is lobby brushes. Sorry, this is going to be a short one today. What is it called? Where's that? Abstract brushes. The reason I like abstract brushes is because they're really good at making, I find they're really good at making robots. I feel like everything kind of works in a sleek way. Or I feel like I'm trying to draw a robot, a big fat, it's really doesn't allow you to go anything more than to build what feels like manufactured components. And then of course lasso tool. And that's a combination of lasso tool as like fill in blocks like this. You block in the shadow, or you draw, think of you spend more time actually visibly thinking about the object, and then instead of all you're really thinking about is like all the features you're trying to hit. It's like this means literally like patterns in the clothing, shadows, hair, literally as many things as you can think that would be in this image. And you never pick up, you just draw it with the lasso tool. So you're as you do this, you just try to tap into more conceptual parts of what this is supposed to be. Once you're done, you outline it. Not all programs can do this, unfortunately, and then you blur it. Then you build on top of this idea. I think that'll be it for today. How you guys doing, by the way? How's your day been? How you been handling yourselves? Um, yeah, because like I said, sometimes it like kind of clicks. Like I can pick up a pencil first thing in the morning and get everything I need to get done that day. Um, but it's hard to tell. Honestly, what really helps this process go smoother is literally the days that have a moment to myself at breakfast or like during my coffee, and I give myself like at least like 30 minutes to an hour sketching to myself are the days that I find that things kind of fit together a bit better. I mean, it's not a guaranteed, obviously, but warming up is a real thing. But I'm of the mind that the idea to warm up with like just random shapes and stuff is not particularly fun, particularly worth the time. I think spending the morning warming up to trying to reference like anatomy is worth your time. I think there's like people who are like, oh yeah, you should just do boxes when you wake up, and I'm like, what kind of life is that? If I had to describe to you right now how me feeling crusty feels like when I draw these lines here, they're fine. They just don't feel good. Like, you know, this thing happened, this little gap happened. I didn't meet like I wanted to go like this and like this and kind of went off a little bit. And it's just things, you know, this little down curve thing. I didn't like that. That didn't feel good. I was trying to draw a straight line and instead it curved down. And a lot of this is less about me being a bad artist and more about being kind of hard on myself. So, you know, changing your art tools to being less precise prevents you from being overly critical and allows you to draw enough and then like warm up enough to get to a point that you're being less critical and more in the mood, and B, you're just performing better. So your amount of criticality, I don't know if that's a fucking word, how critical you are lessens because you've improved somewhat enough to quiet that voice down. So sometimes you need to just find a way around it. It's quite often, and I know this for a fact, you know, it feels like, I'm not drawing good enough, and I've like gotten worse. And I know for a fact that most of the time it's just the same as always. It's just I just started drawing, or I'm being hypercritical, or I haven't given myself a moment to warm up. Or maybe it's just one of those days where it's just, you know, art's not going to come out as easy. I need to focus on something else like sketches and doodles. I need to like keep things very blocky and just try to push a narrative story concepts, not high quality. Because all of this really, you know, I can draw a million drawings of low value, but high value as far as storytelling goes, but low value as far as polish goes. And those quote unquote low value, sorry, when I say low value, I'm talking about how my mind categorizes and evaluates my effort, by being hypercritical. But the idea is that, you know, if you're drawing towards a project, okay, and you're drawing a comic book, and you draw big blocky shapes like this, right, and these might not feel like of high value to you at the moment. They might even feel bad, or they might even think like this is a waste of time. But there are moments when I'm a very high functioning like detail oriented artist, where I can like I really want to ink and sketch and like get ideas down, refined, but I don't want to actually think about how to panel and pose. And these like shitty drawings are extremely valuable to me because they've offloaded the process of brainstorming and paneling. So if I do a bunch of panels like this and then I put them on a page, and then later on when I'm performing more from a skill based, you know, refinement phase, these are actually kind of blessings to have drawings like this for me to use, because now I'm free to just hyper refine these ideas. I'm free to just start developing these ideas from a skill-based, technical level, without having to stop and think like, oh, what was this panel, and then have to look at the script, or oh shit, what do I have to do here? Oh, and then I got to look at a drawing or a reference image, whatever, right? Oh, where was this guy? You know what I mean? Like if you just put enough of the information up front for you for future you, it's less about performing at a level of high. It's about clearing the slate and getting everything in place for your higher functioning version of you, which is, I don't think, something everyone deals with. This is something I deal with. I know it's annoying to hear me talk about my ADHD and bipolar 2 neurodivergence, but this is something I deal with. I think some people, non-insignificant number of people, deal with this as well, but I don't think it's a universal problem. But for me, I find that if I can clear the slate and do a bit of heavy lifting when I'm not as high performing, is pretty beneficial, because then when I am at a higher performance level where I can actually, like, I'm really into just drawing and I don't want to think about like story, I don't want to think about tracking a character's conversation, I don't want to get heavily distracted, having all the kind of like pieces figured out, put on a page, put on in a PSD file. That PSD file has on multiple layers all the character references and everything's all in one spot. That's work current you can do for future you that future you is going to really appreciate. And it's kind of like you're being more supportive towards a more functional you in the future. There's a pretty strong value to that. So it's good to just consider the fact that it's not just about always drawing at a high level. You might have down days, and during your down days, what you can do is use, like I said, more abstract methods of painting, less concrete methods of drawing. You can line up, prepare PSD files, and get things ready in a way so that the future you that is like feeling it isn't being hindered at all. You can move forward pretty unhindered, and you're gonna actually pretty much there's days, I think last month in August, there was a moment where I got 16 pages inked in about a week and a half. But I was only able to do that because I had spent the previous month preparing all those pages, putting them in PSD files, having, being very sure about the script, having the confidence of knowing that if I just refine these, I'll be pretty good. Not all of them, they're not, it's not 100% solid script, but I'm like, okay, well, if I do this, most of these pages will be fine. I don't have to re-review this. I can just go ahead and start drawing them as they are. So I think the idea of, and as I spoke about yesterday, you're gonna have you're being able to figure out what kind of day you're having, and best negotiating your use, how you should use your time for that day, is extremely important. And I think it's easy to get lost in this idea that every day you need to draw real good, I mean, even to this point now, I'm talking about it and I get mad. I get mad when I have a bad drawing day because I feel I'm being robbed of something I've earned, right? I feel like, man, I worked so hard to get good at this, and then I'm having a day where I literally can't do it, and it feels like someone's just snuck into my room at night and stole something from me that was unfairly taken. So anyway, I'll just wrap it up at that point. I think that kind of covers at least something of some use to someone out there.